Hello, my beautiful narcissistic abuse family. I have a great topic today. It is intermittent reinforcement. I've had this on deck for a while, but I keep getting sidetracked with other pressing issues. But this is like the foundation of narcissistic abuse. It's what keeps victims trapped in this toxic cycle. It also so happens to be the premise for the entire gambling industry. It is the most powerful motivator on the planet as identified by psychologists. Intermittent reinforcement, the definition is unpredictable random rewards in response to repeated behavior. And this creates compliance that is obsessive and even self-destructive. Hitting close to home, for sure, already, no doubt. So, if you were raised by narcissists, unfortunately, odds are you gravitated to a narcissistic partner at some point in your life. Hopefully you have escaped them since then, but that's typically the pattern that children of narcissists find themselves stuck in, is that you gravitate to what you know. We're creatures of habit. Love, or the definition that we were taught of love, is toxic, unstable, feels terrible. So I say this all the time. Joe and I met in college. We fell madly in love with each other. But of course, I beat feet like sophomore year because I was like, this is too calm. That's another thing. Victims of narcissistic abuse often need chaos, uncertainty, like constant discord, because peace is boring to us. We don't know what to do with that. When you're raised in a toxic environment, all you know is emotional instability, fighting, and constantly striving to prove yourself. And so intermittent reinforcement is what narcissists use to manipulate their victims. As I said, it's also used in the gambling industry. Think about it. You sit down at a slot machine, you pull the handle, and the fruits and the bars, and they just go wheeling by, and you strike out. So you put more money in, you do it again, and you continue the cycle until hopefully you get your money back. You can hit the jackpot. And then you're like, oh my God, this is so great. And you keep doing it even though you're losing. And when you're losing, you're like, just waiting for that high, for the payback, the payout. And you think to yourself, oh gosh, if I get up now, the next person that sits down might get the payout, the reward, all the money that I've put in. So you just keep repeating it. It's the same idea when you're roped into a toxic cycle in a relationship this way. We know that narcissists thrive off of control. They are control fanatics to the worst extent. They need to control everything because they are so frail and inadequate. They need to have the most leverage that they possibly can in every aspect of life. So the intermittent reinforcement concept was proven over time with experimentation with lab rats. So how that experiment went was the rats would press a lever and they would get a morsel of food. In the beginning, that was consistent. So that's the idealization phase. That's love bombing. And the same thing happens in your parental relationship as it does with a toxic partner. So you press the lever, you get a morsel of food, you get rewarded. love bombing. Then, all of a sudden, the conductors of the experiment, the rats would press the lever, and they would intermittently, randomly, get a morsel of food. So what did the rats do? They continued to press down the lever. Like the same idea as with gambling. So the rats would continue to press the lever even though they were not getting rewarded. This is what we do in toxic narcissistic relationships. You just keep giving and giving and giving of yourself. Like, oh, maybe this will make her happy. With my narcissistic mother. Well, maybe this will get her attention. Maybe she'll be proud of me because of that. Not the case. They just keep you going and keep you exhausting yourself and jumping through hoops to somehow get their attention, affection, or love. It's a facade, but intermittent reinforcement plays a huge role in trauma bonding. A trauma bond is a very strong attachment between the victim and the abuser that develops in spite of, not in spite of, but because of the abuse. The abuser ropes the victim into idolizing them or I think back to my awful entanglement with the narcissist back in my young 20s, that creep, and it's so disturbing, honestly. Like, I was a young person and I essentially was like obsessive about this loser. And again, like in hindsight, like I look back and I'm like, what the heck happened? And now I can understand it was because of this intermittent reinforcement. You know how narcissists, they'll breadcrumb you, right? Like they'll push you to the brink and then they'll throw you a line. Like they'll throw you a bone, like to get like, oh, he really does love me. Like if he pays you attention or sends you a card or flowers or just something completely ingenuine, that's enough to keep you going, right? It's like a breadcrumb. The theory of trauma bonding is a powerful emotional attachment is seen to develop from two specific features of abusive relationships: power imbalances and intermittent good-bad treatment. As children of narcissists, how much of our lives did these losers get away with doing this to us? You know, because it's your parent, you're inclined to, I don't know, like, this is something else that breaks my heart. Children, whenever something bad happens to a child, the child blames themselves. And that's just so devastating. And as an adult, knowing that, it's like, even more, narcissistic abuse is deplorable on all levels. But, like, a child with a narcissistic parent, and the parent is always erratic, and, like, you know, in my case, you know, this woman, I believe she was histrionic as well. She was, like, excessively emotionally high and low. Like, not manic, but she was excessively dramatic. But I was always, like, you know, parentification. I was the parent. I was the one that was constantly, like, consoling her or putting her needs first. Like, that's what narcissistic parents do. They put you into the role of the nurturer because they deserve all the nurturing in the world, right? That's how these deluded monsters think. In a narcissistic relationship, it's just horrific the way they rope you in and take advantage of you, and they vacillate. It was like, I say this, it was so volatile when I was with that creep for as long as I was. It was like a makeup and a breakup every other week. and like the highs and the lows. You know, your brain is releasing dopamine. It's like the hot, like when you meet someone and you think you're madly in love and this is my soulmate. And that's like euphoria resulting from the dopamine released in your brain. But then another one of the most powerful emotions is fear. They evoke fear by like pulling back on you. And they do it when they know they have you in a secure position that they're not going to lose you. So they'll pull back and then they'll give you like a little bit of attention or a breadcrumb or something. And again, the dopamine is released in your brain because you're like, oh, it's such a relief. I'm not going to lose this loser. We're still in a relationship. I remember that vividly. But again, I can apply it to narcissistic parents as well because they do the same thing to you. It's like you're a child and your parent is your whole world. So it's like, are they going to pay attention to me today? Did I do something good or not? Or like, I remember every single flipping night when I was a kid, I would write like cards because you're a kid and you don't have anything to give. You just give whatever you have to this incorrigible tyrant of a parent that you have. So I used to just make cards and I would leave them on her pillow every freaking night, every night, thinking this'll get her, this'll win her. You know, like she'll love me because of this. And it's never enough because it is never enough. These people are insatiable. They need constant attention, constant praise, and they're seeking it from their own children, which is just absolutely disordered and to the worst degree. I can't say it enough. But intermittent reinforcement is the inconsistency between putting in the effort and getting back what you deserve. Like I tell my girlfriend all the time, it's amazing, it's incredible to be in a reciprocal relation. Like she's finally in a reciprocal relationship after being with a narcissist for an extended period. And something so simple, like he brought the trash in. He put the trash out on the curb and he brought the trash in. And she was like, oh my goodness, that was so nice of him. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when your partner's both contributing to, a common cause. You love each other. You both put in and receive back affirmation that you legitimately love and care for one another. So, all right, you guys, intermittent reinforcement. I hope that sets to rest. Like, a lot of us beat ourselves up. Like, why did I stay for this long? Why did I tolerate it? It's the most powerful motivator on the planet, intermittent reinforcement. All right, you guys, I hope I provided you with something useful. Please give me a thumbs up, share with anyone you think would benefit from this. We are bumped, we are bruised, but beyond everything else, we are blessed because we extricated ourselves from the toxic cycle. Check out my merch on Amazon. Also in the link below, I have merch on spring and it's good stuff. It's our badge of honor, that we've come out on top of this abuse, this wicked abuse. I love you all. I'll be back.